Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots. Bootlicker Shills, Desolation, says it's Massill's Meat Sacks. I'm a useful idiot. Welcome. And today I want to go back to the good old USA and a saga involving banker scum and government scum. But before I get to the banker and government scum, let's do a little reminiscing, shall we? Let's remember the economic collapse of 2007-2008. And one of the things that contributed to the economic collapse that we're still dealing with is massive mortgage fraud. And not only massive mortgage fraud, but an industry that encouraged bad underwriting and risky loans and a lot of things that came back to haunt us. And of course, the mortgage-backed securities that go along with that. And so we've had a lot of problems in the housing, and we continue to have problems in the U.S. housing market. There really hasn't been a recovery. There's been institutional buyers, and there's been foreign buyers. And in fact, a new report just came out that said that first-time home buyers are at their lowest level in 27 years. And no surprise there. But let's get back to, so one of the problems we had was easy credit, a lot of money floating around, and bad underwriting coupled with mortgage fraud. And so here we are all these years later. Now we have an announcement from the Federal Housing Finance Agency. This is what oversees Fannie and Freddie, and our good banker buddy Mel Watt. And he is the banker scum who is now government scum, but technically he is banker slash government scum because he works for both the bankers and the government. And so he is announcing that they're going to reduce the minimum down payment from 5% to 3%. And then, what a shocker, they're going to ease borrower standards and lower the credit scores that will be acceptable. There's a lot of propaganda out there about how, in some ways, the credit scores are too high now, but they're only too high in the sense that a lot of people have been crushed under debt and their lives have collapsed since the economic calamity of 2008. And now their credit is damaged, so they could potentially continue to be a risk. But for the banks, this is another gift to the banks, and this would be a gift to the banks because Mel Watt. One reason why he's banker scum because he was appointed by Obama, and previous to that, he was a representative in his district, was the headquarters of Bank of America, and in fact, 48% of all his campaign donations, Mel Watt, came from real estate and finance. And so he's serving his masters well in his new position. And let's also remember that Mel Watt was the one who almost single-handedly shot down the bill to audit the Fed. It made it pretty much all the way to Mel Watt before the bill to audit the Fed was shot down. And so he'll always be remembered for that. And so for the banks, this is great because it's a gift to the banks because it's going to generate, potentially generate more loans, and of course generate a lot more fees. And more importantly, it's going to generate more securitizations. And not only that, it should help solidify securitizations that are already in the market and potentially raise their value. And then drive up prices. That's another thing they want to do is keep reinflating this real estate bubble. Which is, once again, the deflationary forces there. They're driving prices down in most markets, and they want to keep reinflating this bubble. So this is another attempt to reinflate this housing bubble. So for them, returning to normal is returning to the already inflated housing bubble that existed in 2007 and 2008. And one of the results of this, of course, is going to be all the other crap that went along with the last mortgage bonanza, balloon payments and liar loans and teaser rates. And a lot of the people that are involved in this, they don't care. They're going to move along, and they're going to make their money off of this. And it shouldn't be any surprise either that the banks recently lobbied and won to have no risk retention on residential loans that are securitized. and this was part of the Dodd-Frank bill, and it was going to require a 5% risk retention in order to cover the potential that these residential loans will go bad, and then they have to deal with all the securitizations, and then go through this whole rigmarole they went through last time with all these bad mortgage-backed securities. So they want to remove their risk for that, and they won it apparently. And then to get back to this whole thing about first-time home buyers at the lowest level in 27 years, and this connection with Mel Watt wanting to drop the minimum payment down and then make easier credit. Of course, their idea is that the problem with home sales is having to compete with institutional investors, and that credit is just too stringent. So they look at that, but they don't look at the fact that, well, it couldn't just be there's lower credit scores, there's massive debt, there's massive student loan debt, there's few job opportunities, particularly for that age group that would be buying a first-time home. Most of those people are living at home still. It couldn't have anything to do with fiscal policies. It couldn't have anything to do with flat wages, and it couldn't have anything to do with rising rents. How in this kind of a environment are young people saddled with all this college debt supposed to go out and buy a house? So anyway, there we go. We got Mel Watt, banker bootlicker extraordinaire, wanting to reinvigorate the subprime mortgage industry, get those bank securities flowing again, get some more money going to his banker buddies, like his friends at Bank of America, and who knows, something could go wrong. I mean, really, well, I don't know what could go wrong, really. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too.